I'm Andrew Hulbert. I am the founder of Pareto FM. I'm also the chair of the Institute of Workplace and Facilities Management, and I'm in a non-exec capacity in both of those roles. So Pareto is a facility services provider focused on the hard services. I was the founder of it originally. It's about 12 years old now. It's grown to about £75 million today and continues to do phenomenally well within the sector. And the IWFM, of course, the overarching membership body of the sector. I've been on the board for around 5 years now, and I'm now the chair working with them. And actually it's all about growing the member value proposition. It's all about commercial sustainability and ultimately representing the views of our members. So yeah, that's what I'm working on at the moment. Growth is a really interesting area because you shouldn't try and grow just because you want to grow. You need to grow sustainably. It's very easy in facilities management in particular when profitability is low to take on work at a low level. For me, it was always trying to find good work that we wanted to deliver and make sure that our growth was sustainable, because without sustainable growth, you don't really have a business. And in a sector where you're sometimes scratching around at like 3 or 4% EBITDA, changes like change in minimum wage or change in national insurance can have a real big impact on service providers. And I'm actually hugely sympathetic to large service providers that have millions and millions added to their overheads because of these changes in government policy. SMEs not so much because they don't have as many staff, but can be very tricky. And then of course, passing those costs back onto the customers can be even more tricky as well. So I think growth is very important, but sustainable growth and profitable growth is the key. I think what made Pareto different right from the very beginning was the social heart. When I set Pareto up, it was all about being a great business and helping others and doing the right thing. But also now, where Pareto has grown over this 12-year period, we moved into a much harder engineering services business with a real focus on sustainability. So it's still about doing the right thing, but it's about doing the right thing and reducing carbon and decarbonising buildings and with the future in mind. And of course, when fuel prices are at the highest they've ever been, things like this become really important and really come back into focus for organisations. So Pareto still has a social heart, but ultimately has moved to being a hard engineering services with a sustainability-based organisation that also brings a great heart with it as well. I've been in the industry for about 15 or so years now, and sustainability was being talked about back then, and I ended up doing my master's in sustainability at UCL. It's important that you understand what sustainability really means. So for many people, that is consistency of buying utilities. It's the cost of utilities. It's the EPC rating on your building. It's the decarbonisation where you can do within your building to make sure that it's going to be future-proofed. For me, it's not about all the greenwash stuff. It's not about planting flake trees in Peru, or it's not about creating a nice campaign for waste that never actually goes anywhere. So for me, the navigation around sustainability has been based around what's real, what impact can we actually have. Now, something that I did that was really important was I bought 10 acres of land in the UK and I planted a real forest, real trees, real forest, real carbon footprint. And the idea was to prove that, yes, supporting these schemes in the wild west of South America of planting these trees was never really real, but actually you want to come and see our forests, come and have a look. And that was really, sustainability is about real things. The other challenge I see is the net zero. The whole story around net zero, I think, is a broken one. And I do not think the UK will be net zero by 2050 as per all of our targets. And actually organisations and like, our car's going to be made with diesel and petrol, and when's that going to be pushed back, and our electric car's going to be the future. What's the whole life cycle carbon of electric cars in real life? All those questions, we have to be critical of this. And having a degree within it is great because we had that critical thought right from the very beginning. So yes, be real, focus on what you can actually touch and be prepared for the future. But I do think that net zero targets will be pushed back quite significantly as well, past 2050. I think the way we've been able to shift perception is you just have to keep ramming it down the throat of the clients and your own staff that this is an important thing. Because we hear a lot of noise about sustainability. We can read about it on a day-to-day basis. You know, magazines are constantly telling us about how important it is. I had a study recently that Arup completed, and it was to do with EPC ratings. Now, EPC ratings on buildings, they're based off of the theoretical carbon usage of buildings. So when you get your EPC A, you're thinking happy days, it's going to be a low carbon usage building. Arup took 200 buildings, took their theoretical EPC ratings, and then took their actual carbon usage. And you know what? G rating was the best performing rating in real terms, in real carbon. So the way that I consistently bring this to people's attention is, don't believe everything you read. There's a lot of greenwash, there's a lot of bullshit in this sector around what the reality of it is. When I look to that EPC example, EPC is what we believe to be the truth. But if I have an A, but actually the Gs are doing better than I am in real terms, that tells us everything we need to know. So it's consistently challenging the perceptions, making sure people are aware of them, and people like IWFM writing white papers and doing primary research on these things to make sure that we understand there is still so much more to learn, not just what we're reading day to day. Challenge everything, be critical, and be consistent.